Welcome to the Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast, a podcast for fans of the 14-2 Detroit Lions. My name is Demetrius. We acknowledge always the godfather of the Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast, the super producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Mike Ward. Week 17 of the NFL season. The Lions Monday night, we're late, and some of you guys are still up. I appreciate it as always. Get the disclaimers out of the way. If you like it, hearts, thumbs ups, whatever it takes. I appreciate it. I'll take it. The Lions went out to San Francisco, and depending on where you are and where you are like mentally with this whole thing, there's a degree of get revenge, I guess. I didn't really care about that. Then there's the mentality of with wanting Green Bay to win so we could rest. And I get that. But I also understood how this organization moves nowadays, how this coach operates. And at the end of the day, I decided to call this the Detroit Lions don't need your help. Right? We don't need whatever, Green Bay. Y'all had one job. Y'all had one job, but that's okay. It's fine. So the Lions went out to San Francisco, played everybody, played like they needed it because they don't know any other way. And I think that's who they are. And they won the game 40-34. It was up and down. It was sloppy at times, penalties and some not very smart defensive plays in particular. So I'm going to be generally on a late game. I try and move quickly, but I don't have to work tomorrow. So I stick around as long as you can, and I appreciate it. But who knows? We're just going to go off the dome today. But we're going to stay kind of with the structure. Look at some big picture stuff. Blow through that pretty quick. I talk a little bit about the game, and then we'll do 3 questions. Right? That's kind of our standard format. Is what we do. As always, there's a comment section. You can throw comments in there. If they're not ridiculous, I'll mention your name. I'll answer your question. I'll acknowledge you because I appreciate it. And this is an interactive podcast. I could sit here and talk about the Lions for hours, but nobody wants that. So if you have something interesting or compelling to say, go ahead, drop it in the comments. I'll mention it. I think it makes the podcast more interesting, and I've been told that that makes it a little more fun. So yeah, 40-34. They got a late garbage touchdown from, what is their backup's name? Josh something. Josh. I want to say Josh Jacobs. Joshua Dobbs is what I'm going to say. At that point, I thought the game was over, and I can't remember that guy. He might have played for us for a while, though. Okay, we're not jumping down that rabbit hole. The game was really 40-28. We kind of went into a prevent to let the clock, and they got a garbage touchdown. Not that it matters, because we don't really care about scores. We don't care about how we win. 1-point win, 40-point win. It's still just one game. So big picture. Talk a bit about the game, and then we're going to do some questions. So big picture, right? 14-2. Say what you want. This team finds a way to take care of business. That whole thing with Packers help us out was nonsense, and I don't think anybody in Allen Park, Michigan, gave a damn about what the Packers did yesterday, because we get Minnesota in our building. And at the end of the day, this is a really, really good offensive football team. It's going to take somebody coming in. They're going to have to put up a big number. They're going to have to play a really good game, because I'm not sure there are that many teams, even playing at their best, that can score enough points to beat us. And so the question is, do we care if we win games 40-34? If it's a road game, it's the game on the schedule. No, I don't care. I didn't care when they beat Dallas like 47-9. It still only counted as 1. But the thing that it tells us is that when we're clicking offensively, and we were clicking off, I don't think Jack Fox came to work today. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jack Fox took the day off. which he's done a couple of times this year, and that's not a bad gig. Being the punter for the Lions is a pretty decent gig. When the offense is this creative, they execute at this high level, and quite frankly, they're pretty talented. And I don't know if Andy's on yet or at all. I'm not going to do it, Andy. Don't worry. But the Lions are second in the league in yards per game. I think they're behind Baltimore. I think it's Baltimore. They're second in the league in passing behind Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And they're sixth in the lead in rushing. This offense, elite, the best in the game. They got the number one offense in football. So I don't care how they get it done. And right now we're struggling on defense. We're missing guys that are a big deal. And if we got to win games 40-34, I'll take it. It matters, right? So when you got the best offense in the league still, and a defense that I believe will slowly get better as guys come back, because they got Melon Found back last week. They got Reeves Maben back today. You might not think that's a big deal considering a couple of his plays, but I think that will be. I think Anzalone's close. I think CD3 might be back for a playoff run. And if we get that bye, that extra week will help. So I think in our playoff game, we will have 2-3, because CD3 changes a lot, by the way. Carlton Davis, the corner, for those of you who don't know the code name I'm using, Carlton Davis helps a lot. He expands what we can do defensively. He changes our scheme. And we got out schemed in the first half. And then we made some changes and Purdy made some mistakes. But if we all agree that we still have the best offense in the league, capable of putting 40 on just about anybody, why are people scared? And this is nothing against the Vikings, but why, other than, falling for the sports talk radio okie doke, which I'm sure a lot of people do, why? Has this team showed you any reason that they can't put up big numbers? Have they not shown you who they are, which is the best offense in the league and a team that can win anywhere against anybody? Day game, Sunday night game, Monday night game, rain, dome, outside. What do they've won every game on the road. It's the first Lions team to ever go undefeated on the road. That's not an easy thing to do. I think the Chiefs did it in 20 or 21. The Chiefs did it. So my only guess is that it's still the injury thing, which I'm starting to get over that, because I just think this offense, especially if we take care of business next week and get the bye, there's no weather games. Weather's not a factor. You play in Detroit until you go to New Orleans, and with the crowd and the quarterback, this it's going to be hard to stop this team from putting up 34, 38, 41 points. And I will shake their hands. Just like if you can do it, put up 48 like Buffalo did, you deserve to win the game. No harm, no foul. I will live with that. I don't think there's a lot of teams that can put up those numbers. I don't. And if I told you in August, hey, on December 30th, the evening of I guess it's the 31st for a lot of you. Thanks again for staying up. The Lions are going to be 14-2, and they get to host the last game of the year for a chance at the 1 seed. I mean, we all would take it, right? But I would have said to you two things that I feel pretty certain about. One, if they're 14-2, they're a pretty damn good football team, right? Because that's not easy to do. They're probably elite somewhere. They're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, right? To be 14-2, playing for the 1 seed, I mean, by definition, you're one of the best teams in the league, and you've got to be playing good football. And I think as we sit here right now, nobody is really uncomfortable with me saying the Lions are one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, right? I hope not. I hope we're past that. But we're not gonna say, oh, they got some lucky wins. If they did, and I say if they got no more than Kansas City and Minnesota or the Eagles or the Buffalo, other teams that have 12, 13, 14 wins. They got a block field goal here or a team made a dumb play. That's how you get to 14 wins. Is you've got to the other team has to sometimes do some stuff. It is very much. Oh, hey, Andy is here. Good to see Andy. And yes, we got this. I agree. Andy and I are on the same page tonight, guys. We believe we've got this. So I don't think the Lions got lucky in a bunch of wins. I think I might let you have an argument on the Rams opener. I would suggest we were rusty because nobody played in the preseason. The Rams made a couple of dumb plays, as I recall. I will contend that we played a really crappy first half in Houston. That's one that I might listen to an argument, except we played better in the second half and won the game. I might even give you the first quarter in Minnesota, except, oh yeah, on the road in their building, we came back and won that game too. And that's the team I'm supposed to be scared of next Sunday night in my own building. Yeah, I'm not. And it could be me. Everybody, if you're listening, you probably know me. I'm an optimist in life. I'm an optimist about this football team. The second thing I would have told you is that this is sustainable. If you're telling me in August they're going to be 14-2 fighting for a 1 seed, I would say, oh, the organization figured it out, because that team was 12-5 last year. And some people whispered they didn't know if it was luck or not. They didn't know if it was real. So that team that went 9-8 and just missed the playoff 2 years ago, then proceeded to go 12-5 last year and go to the NFC Championship game, is now 14-2 fighting for the 1 seed, and is a lot of people's Super Bowl pick. So, and make no mistake, I think they're going to win next Sunday night and be the 1 seed, and I still think they're going to the Super Bowl. Andy and I are aligned on that. So there's no waffling here. There's no fear here. I'm not worried about that stuff. Health is the only thing that's hurt us. And again, barring more injuries, or Andy makes the point about the offensive line, that offensive line stays healthy. That quarterback stays healthy. And Ben Johnson stays healthy. That this is a difficult team to beat. And a 14-2 record, if you told me in August, I would have said the organization figured it out. Right now, I still think they're the best team in the NFC. I still think they can play with anybody, anywhere. I want a rematch with Buffalo so bad, not just because it would be that game in New Orleans, but because I believe that if you tell me I've got Carlton Davis in that game, I've got Anzalone in that game, maybe I got Demo in that game, there's a world where I've got Hutch in that game. Forget the Hutch part. That's a pipe dream. But if you're telling me I'm going to get back Anzalone, I'm going to get back Montgomery, and I'm going to get back Carlton Davis, Anzalone, Carlton Davis, and Montgomery for that game, I like my chances. I like what we can do defensively, and I don't know that they put up 48 on us again, right? But I'm excited, and I think that the team is 14-2, not because of luck, not because they played a bunch of crappy teams, because they beat everybody that they played, with the exception of Buffalo and Tampa, right? The culture. What the 14-2 for me really speaks to is a culture of the organization. And Sheila got some time on the screen today, and I know how most fans feel about her, and I'm not going to do my Sheila thing. But this football team knows who they are, and they are not deterred by anything. Not the 4-letter saying Green Bay is still a threat, and we beat them twice. Not Minnesota doing whatever Minnesota does, because we don't care. That doesn't matter. We don't care, right? I almost think they'd rather have it this way. Honestly, I think if you ask Dan Campbell in a moment of brutal honesty, he probably didn't mind that Minnesota beat Green Bay and that the Lions get to do it in prime time for all the marbles on a primetime Sunday night game in downtown Detroit. Because this team, this coaching staff, this organization, Yeah, they wouldn't have it any other way. I almost believe that's what they wanted, right? Because they're built for this. That's not just a catchy saying. That's not just a thing that they go, "Oh, we're built for this." They are. They are. It's hard on us. It's hard, right? And I have people texting me through the, how can you do this? I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. And oh my God, I can't watch. I gotta turn on NCIS, right? These things. And no, I watch every single play. And now it's different because I know they're gonna find a way. And they always do. So all right, let's talk about the game. All right. There was a lot of ebb and flow to this game. And a lot of times I come on here and I say, there was never really a time during the game where I wondered if we were going to win. Tonight, that would be a lie. Not because I ever thought the 49ers were the better team, because they're not. And we knew that. But because there were some uncharacteristic things happening. Like we were getting gashed in the running game and receivers were running wide open. I felt like, and I think Andy and I don't agree, there was some out scheming that happened. There were plays, eye candy, right? That was tricking guys. And now some of that is linebackers. It's the Ben Niemans and Trevor Nowaskis and Jalen Reeves Mabins of the world, as opposed to it being Anzalone, Derek Barnes, or even Rodrigo, which all three of those guys are out, right? Imagine if Jack Campbell was playing with those three guys. Nothing against the dudes playing because they're giving us everything they have. Some of it, though, was trickery, and they were doing a lot of misdirection, but there was uncharacteristic things that I didn't like. Penei Sewell had a big penalty on the second drive that hurt. We were getting out executed, and the refs missed a hit on Laporta that bothered my brother Kenny and I. He immediately texted and said, "Wait a minute, that was a bad hit. What the hell?" I agree with him, but then Ben Johnson goes into the bag, right? Pulls out the hook and ladder. Love it. Okay, spark, energy. You see, okay. Now I'm going to pause here, and if you're in the comment section and you don't mind, at that point, I think it's 14-12. Excuse me if I got it wrong. Why not go for two and try and tie the game? And I asked that question, and they came out, and the people told me too early. I don't get that because I don't get the difference between being down 2 versus down 1. You still need a field goal. I did. Now it eventually didn't bite us, so thankfully. But I didn't understand why he didn't go for 2 there. Kicked it and made it 14-13 after, because they had missed the extra point on the first touchdown. I didn't understand that, but okay, cool. It doesn't really matter, but that threw me for a loop, right? Why would we do that there? Kenny's favorite player, Terry and Arnold, didn't have a great game. Couple busted. Once he just got caught up with his own guy and got beat. But, I'm trying to convince Kenny he's a good player. And then he does stuff like that. And I got nothing. I can't help you, bro, if you're going to do stuff like that once or twice a game. So Kenny can text me and tell me how much of a bum you are and that you should get benched. But at halftime, I felt comfortable. I knew we got the ball to start the half. And I felt like they were executing on a higher level than they were capable of maintaining. And we were clicking. And I just said to somebody, maybe this is who we are. And the statement we make to everybody when we get off the bus is, can you keep up with us? Are you going to be able to keep? We're going to hang 40. Can you hang 40? Without the garbage touchdown, you put up 28 and it was cute. But then at some point, fatigue, talent, it catches up. And the reason some players are better than others is not how they play at the beginning of the game, because all those dudes are NFL players and they're all really good. The great ones are great because they still do it when they're tired. They play just as well in the third and fourth quarter as they play in the first quarter. And you saw the Lions impose their will. In the second half, you started to see little kid with candy, and the grown man decided he wanted the candy, and he just took it, right? And I am not, as much as I mentioned it, you would think I am. I'm not a fan of grown men taking candy from babies. But the analogy fits when I watch my team impose their will on somebody else in their building. again, just like Dallas, just like Jacksonville, just like Tennessee, to a degree, just like Chicago last week. You just decide, okay, guys, can you stay with us for 4 quarters? We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. Will you stop? Will you give in? Can you do this as long as we do it? And all it really took was one play, and Kirby made it, right? And then he did it again, right? Just for fun. But I felt like tonight there was a degree of Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. I don't have anything against him. He's a good coach. And they gave us some problems. They gave our backups. They gave our backups some problems. And that's really where we are, guys. Can your team score on our backups the way we can score on your starters? Because that's what it is now. And like Brian Branch didn't have a great game today. Love Brian Branch. I think he's not playing in the same position he was earlier. The injuries, they're moving him around. He didn't play great, but that's okay. That's okay. I felt like tonight was another statement. Just, okay, keep doubting us. Go ahead and put Minnesota as the 1 seed for 24 hours just to piss me off. Because that's all it did. You could have waited till all the games were played. But nope, you spent the whole morning showing us as the 5 seed. That just pissed us off, probably, right? So during the game, once Kirby made the interception, you started to see the other team's will be taken. And when you watch a game, you can pinpoint that moment where, okay, this is where they remember, oh, crap, the Lions are actually better than us. And a few weeks ago, I titled one of the podcasts, The Detroit Lions Are Them. And I explained it as, in the old days, the schedule would come out, you'd see the Lions on your schedule, and you'd say, yay, we get to play them. We get, yay, can't wait to play them. Oh, we got them this week? And now it's not. Now it's, oh shit, we got to play them. Wait, we're playing them? How are we going to beat them? And that's what it is. And there was a moment, probably the first Kirby interception, where everything in Brock Purdy's body said, oh yeah, they're not those Lions anymore. They're them Lions. They're them. And you saw it. And the second one was just a great play by Kirby Joseph. And Goff just played like Goff all night. I'll be cool, Andy. Don't worry. And then Gibbs put the nail in the coffin with a Gibbs move. So, tonight was, there were people talking about rest the starters. This game doesn't matter. My feeling on that is you don't get to this level. Excuse me, as a player, you don't get to this level as a coach, and you don't get to this level as an organization if you have the ability, or you even think you have the ability, to turn it on and turn it off at will. Okay, Minnesota beat Green Bay. We don't need the 49er game. It doesn't matter. Well, you know what? I practice all week. I am a professional. I'm going to go out and give my best effort. You don't want guys on the team who can say, all right, we're going to dial it back. You don't want a coach that says, hey, guys, dial it back. No, that's not who we are. That's not who the Detroit Lions are. The Detroit Lions don't need your help. They don't need your help. They'll do it themselves. And that's what they're going to do. Fully expect them to play a solid game next week. Minnesota's a good team. I'm not predicting a blowout. I want to. I think Andy just said we can run it up on anybody. So for the record, everybody, Andy's predicting a blowout. But I'm not. This offense is too good. It's really good. And the game's at home. And I think we're a better team. So, yeah, other than that, right, I think we're the better team. I think we're firing on all cylinders. And it's in our building. So, yeah, I'm excited about next week. Today was just you got to grind it out a little bit. Defense didn't play great, but it didn't matter because we hung 40 on them. So yeah, got the win. Let's get ready for the game. So, let's take some questions. All right. First question: can they keep winning these shootouts? I might have just covered that. The answer is yes. They can. And honestly, they might have to until they get some guys back. If they don't get some guys back on defense, they might have to. Carlton Davis, I talked about how valuable he is. He just allows us to do a lot of different things on defense that we can't do without him. He's huge. Anzalone is huge. In the locker room, on the field, he is intuitive. He is a really good linebacker. That'll give us the ability to do more, getting those guys back. But I don't have any struggle saying I think we can put up 35-ish on Minnesota and every other team in the playoffs. Tampa's defense doesn't scare me. That'll be a nice shootout, but I think we can hang 35 on Tampa. Green Bay, we've done that already. Who else? The Atlanta Rams. That actually might be a good game. I don't think I'd be scared because it'll likely be in our building, but I just don't, and it seems simplistic. I don't see us having any problem putting 35-40 on anybody. Minnesota might be the best defense that we'll see again. Nobody in the AFC defensively scares me. The Chiefs are good. They got to get through Baltimore and Buffalo. So whoever is there at the AFC won't matter because we'll be in New Orleans and I won't give a damn. We can score. So my short answer is yes. We can keep winning shootouts. We might need to keep winning shootouts. And I think we're going to get better defensively. So yeah, that's a short answer. So, all right, next question. Do you feel like the Lions don't get the love because they don't have a superstar player, but are a team loaded with really good players? So first, I don't really agree with your premise, right? I'll circle back and answer the question, but I think this team, not only does this team have a superstar, this team has multiple superstars, right? Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know how people do the subjective thing like elite and superstar, but I'm just going to do mine. And the comment section is open. Feel free. But I don't know what makes someone a superstar because it's totally subjective and it's just up to your opinion. So I'll share mine. Predictably, mine is rooted in stats and data because if you're new to the podcast, it's kind of what I do for a living in the real job. I work in a world of stats and data. And but let's play this out. So I actually agree with the really good player thing. I think Branch and Joseph are really good safeties. I think they're on the cusp of being great players. They're good. They're really good. Branch didn't play well today, but I think they're really good. And I think that Kirby had 2 interceptions tonight, and I think they're really good. They both might go to the Pro Bowl. Before his injury, Aleem McNeil was a really good player on the cusp of that elite kind of defensive tackle. He was playing really good football. Jack Campbell's on the come up. I don't think there's any doubt that a healthy Hutch is a star. So there's your really good players going into your stars. But this dude, and again, it's subjective. It's subjective. So I'm opening this to debate. But I think I'm gonna rise a superstar. Haters call him what they call him, a slot merchant. I guess that's a thing. And that's all well and good, but I know what the numbers tell me. The numbers tell me he has 109 receptions, which puts him second in the league. He has 1,186 yards, which puts him fourth in the league. And he has 12 touchdowns, which puts him second. I don't know what to say to that. If I don't know how to, those numbers put him in a group. If you start clustering guys, you know where he is? He's in a group with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and CeeDee Lamb. That's the group he's with. He's ahead of Jerry Jeudy and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. He's in the group with the elites. And if his numbers say he should be talked about in the group with Chase and Jefferson and Lamb, how is he not a superstar? and his quarterback is just a civilian, right? Right. I don't, so the way I would do it, Amon-Ra your first superstar. That's the first one. Okay, then we're gonna have a little fun because I don't know if I got this until I looked it up. I happened to be looking. I think I said last week quietly, and I don't think it's quiet anymore. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in football. I was gonna say top 5, and then I dug into the numbers. I wanted to get on here and do a few minutes, not knowing the question was coming, but I wanted to come on and do a few minutes about Gibbs. And then I looked at his numbers. And this year, he has 227 carries. He's 1,273 yards, which makes him 6th in the league. 13 touchdowns. Also has 47 catches, 486 and 3 touchdowns. So his total scrimmage numbers, 274 touches, almost 1,800 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Now remember, for the bulk of the season, he shared the load. There's another dude with 175, 180 carries and 12 touchdowns. What if there was no Demo and he was the feature back? What if you gave him, I don't know, Bijan's at like 275 carries? What if he had 275 carries instead of 227 carries? Where would his numbers be? God forbid you gave him Derrick Henry carries, 300, right? I'm not even going to talk about Saquon. Saquon's, 350, something like that, 345, 350. What if he had 300 carries? He would be the second best back in the league statistically behind Saquon Barkley, or right there with Barkley and Henry. If he was the feature back and he had 275 to 300 carries right now, the conversation, he might be in the MVP conversation. He would be talked about in the same vein. He'd have well over 2,000 scrimmage yards. He'd be talked about in the same vein as Saquon and Derrick Henry are right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is actually a superstar. It's just disguised because he shares the backfield. And don't get me wrong, love Demo. Can't wait for Demo to get back. It is a great tandem. But now that we have to watch him without Demo, it is more than apparent that Jahmyr Gibbs is a superstar, to answer your question. And I don't think I do. There's no stats really that I can put up and show you that Penei Sewell is the best tackle in football. Not the best right tackle. Penei Sewell is the best tackle in football. And I have said for 2 years, the most important player on this team is not St. Brown. Gibbs is giving him a run. It's not even my quarterback. The most important player on the Detroit Lions, and he has been for 2.5 years, is Frank Ragnow. Universally recognized as one of the 2 or 3 best centers in the league, maybe the best in a lot of people's eyes. There are a bunch of superstars on this team. I didn't even mention 16. I didn't do it. Out of respect for Andy, I'm not even going to, well, I like you, Andy, but I'm just going to do a little bit. A little bit. I'm not going to do 5 minutes, just a little. Here's the deal, right? For almost 4,400 yards, second in the league, third in completion percentage, and he's got 36 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Look up that 3.6 to 1 ratio. I'm here to tell you it's pretty damn good. His quarterback rating is second in the league behind Lamar. 112-ish. I got to keep it short because I made a promise to Andy, but Jared Goff's a superstar. Sewell, Ragnow, St. Brown, Gibbs, Goff. That's 5 superstars on this team. Don't get confused. Just because the 4-letter doesn't talk about them, just because the local media won't recognize them, doesn't make it non-factual. We've got a number of superstars, and you got guys like Kirby and Branch, and I forgot Hutch, by the way. There's 6 superstars on it. This team is full of superstars, and the head coach is a superstar, and the offensive coordinator is a superstar, And despite tonight, I really like our defense coordinator. The GM is a superstar. Hell, Sheila Ford Hamp is a superstar. Right? This organization is full of superstars. And Chris Spielman's also a superstar. Sure. I know there are people get mad that I don't mention Spielman enough. This team is riddled with superstars. Trust me. And tonight's game, all day today, last night, every promo I saw in the 4-letter said Jared Goff and the Lions take on the San Francisco 40. That's how you know. When they started saying Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, you knew it was a wrap, right? You knew it was a wrap. That's how it happened. When they're starting to say Jared Goff and the Lions, yeah, he's a superstar. Even they recognize it. So that's all I got to say about that. One more, and we'll get out of here. Is this the biggest game in franchise history? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I assume you mean the Minnesota game coming up. Okay. This is the biggest game in franchise history. While I get recency bias, the answer is hell no. The biggest game was last January, 28th, whatever it was. That game was for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. This is a regular season game that if things somehow don't go our way, it just changes our path. It doesn't eliminate us. It doesn't stop us from reaching all of our goals. It just alters the path a little bit. So, no, the objective is still achievable. It may be significantly more difficult, but even if they lose, the loser of this game is going to be a 14-3 team that's going to be the 5 seed. That's absurd. That makes you want to talk about changing the rules, but they're not going to do that. So I'm not going to waste anybody's time. And again, make no mistake, I'm not worried. I believe the Lions are the better team. I know the game is in Detroit, and I think the Lions are going to win the game. But we can do this. We can do this. For people in my age group, by the way, I remember January 1992, but the difference is simple. I never thought they were going to beat that Washington team that day. I woke up that morning concerned largely about how bad a loss it was going to be. And it was 41-10. The game was never close, and I never thought it was. But January 28th, Lions had a 17-point halftime lead. They were 30 minutes away from – that was the biggest game in franchise history. This is a big game. It's an important game. It's great for the league. But the difference is I think the 93 team came back and went like 8-8 or something like that. Whereas this team came off a 12-5 season, lost an NFC championship game. They took it. They rolled it up, and they used it as fuel. And they came back this season on a mission. You have seen games that can only be described as mission. Dallas was a mission. Lambeau was a mission. Tonight was probably to some degree a mission. They were exercising demons. Thanksgiving. Hadn't won a Thanksgiving game in 7. That was a mission. They were Seattle. They've been exercising demons all year. And I think this is no different. I think since probably Dallas, the Lions have been the best team in football. Don't care about the Buffalo game. That was one day. It wasn't even a whole game. It was a bad defensive game and a bad first quarter by the offense. That's it. I have said, and Kenny said they were going to be 15-2 at the beginning of the year. I have said probably from the Dallas game, which I want to say was week 5. Okay, Art makes a point. Is this the biggest regular season game in franchise history? Okay, you're right. You're right, Art. This is probably the biggest regular season game in Lions history. But I make no mistake, I think they're going to win the game. Here's the thing. Even if they lose, I still think they can go to the Super Bowl because I think they can beat anybody anywhere. I wouldn't care if they had to go to Tampa. That wouldn't scare me. I wouldn't be scared going to Atlanta. That wouldn't scare me. Going to Philly wouldn't scare me. Having to go back to Minnesota wouldn't scare me. I think with everything I have, they're the better team. The game's at home, and we're going to come and play a really good game and win next Sunday night. But like I was saying, since Dallas, I have thought the Lions were the better team, the best team in the league, certainly the best team in the NFC. Certainly the best team in the NFC. I thought they were the best team in the league. I don't use injuries as an excuse, but we can't act like they're not a reason. And even with that said, their only loss after losing Hutch, I'm not going to go down the list. All the players they lost, Hutch in particular, they lost one game by 6 points against the second best offense in football. I don't know why we don't just realize this is still the best team in the league. This is still, when they had won 11 straight, everybody had them at the top of the power rankings. And the Buffalo game, all of a sudden, there's people wondering if Green Bay was going to beat them 2 weeks ago at home. If they can't beat Minnesota at home. Team we've already beat in their building. So maybe it's me. Maybe the injury thing is still scaring some people. And maybe it's just me and my cornbread. And I see optimism everywhere. But I know one thing. If we face Buffalo again, it'll be in New Orleans, February 8th, 9th, whatever day that is. I think it's the 9th. We will be a healthier defense. I don't think Hutch will be there, but I think Anzalone will be there. I think Carlton Davis will be there. I think we'll be healthier and we'll be better. We'll play better. So not using it as an excuse, but with Iffy coming back, and he made a couple plays today, Reeves-Maybin is going to get better. Anzalone and Davis are the key. You add those two dudes, you're adding two. It's like signing two really good free agents, signing a lockdown corner and a really good NFL linebacker. Those guys change what AG can do on defense. You give me those two guys with whatever else we have here. We miss Aleem McNeil, though. That's hurting. They're not putting 48 up on us in that game. So it's big, and Art's right. It's the biggest regular season game in history. I'm going to go out on a corny note. Totally cornball. Biggest game in franchise history is going to be February 9th in New Orleans. That's going to be the biggest game in Lions history. That's how I feel about it. And I know that's corny to go out that way, but that's where I am with it, right? I still think they're the best team in the league, and you're not going to blow everybody out. And there's a case to be made that tonight was an impressive win because there's an old Lions type of team that would have rolled over and just took this loss. There's an old Lions team that wouldn't have kept fighting in Houston, that would not have worked through it in Green Bay through the storm. A team that would not have found a way in Minnesota to get that win because they were down 10-0. This is not that team. This is not that organization. So nothing has changed my mind. I know who I am. Y'all know what the podcast is titled and why it's titled that way. I'm an optimist in life. I am a super optimist about this football team. But if you've got some reason for me to not believe that this is still the best team in football, send it to me. I'll bring it up next week. It's late. Everybody's tired. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got another win. It was one we should have gotten. I'm fine with it. No significant injuries that I know of. I know that Sewell was out for a minute. St. Brown limped off once. But by all accounts, unless you guys know something I don't know, we came out of it unscathed. We got another win. I think we reminded everyone that we are, I will shout out my good friend Bill Carroll and a term he gave me. I believe the Lions offense is an unstoppable killing machine. I just don't know what you do. If you're not a great defense, you got no chance. If you're a great defense, you have a bad day, you got no chance. If you're a great defense and you play okay, we're probably still going to hang 35 on you. I don't think Minnesota's unbeatable. You know why? Because we already beat them. So I'm sorry. You can tell me. You guys tell me. So come next week, we will find out. And it'll be this time of night again. And that'll be Sunday night. And we will have to work on Monday. So I won't be as cool as I am right now because I don't got to work tomorrow. But good game. Thanks for joining the podcast. Like I said, hearts, thumbs up, repost, like, whatever it is you do to suggest you enjoy a podcast. I appreciate it. I obviously love doing it. Andy, Art, Kenny's probably asleep, but and if you're listening, James will listen tomorrow or something. I appreciate all you guys, and those of you who listen and don't comment, I appreciate you too. So everybody have a good week. Happy New Year. Biggest game in regular season history, like Art said. Let's go get it. All right, have a good one.